Thanks for tuning in to this week's news recap. Bitcoin is now legal tender in Central African Republic. The Central African Republic, CAR, a country home to 4.9 million people, has adopted Bitcoin as legal tender within its borders. According to the AFP news agency, CAR President Faustin Archange Touadera signed a law legalizing all cryptocurrencies and recognizing Bitcoin as legal tender this week. Finance Minister Hervé Nboda was proud of the country's move. He explained to Bloomberg, "There's a common narrative that sub-Saharan African countries are often one step behind when it comes to adopting new technology. This time, we can actually say that our country is one step ahead." CAR is the first country to legalize Bitcoin as legal tender in Africa, and the second in the world, joining El Salvador. Notably, the CAR news came during the same week that former BitMEX CEO and noted analyst Arthur Hayes made the case for the doom loop in his most recent article, arguing that Bitcoin adoption at the country level would lead to a $1 million price per coin. He wrote, "Flags, meaning nations, will pursue a savings policy mix that includes storing commodities and purchasing gold/Bitcoin. The fact that USD and EUR assets are not part of this mix, combined with entrenched real goods and energy inflation, puts the doom loop into motion. The doom loop will usher in $1 million Bitcoin and $10,000 to $20,000 gold by the end of the decade." Elon Musk is buying Twitter. Here's why that's important for crypto. Twitter is set to go private after formally accepting a $44 billion bid from Tesla CEO Elon Musk. The news was announced in a press release Tuesday, with the Twitter board unanimously approving the deal that will see every shareholder receive a payout of $54.20 per share. While there are still some details to be worked out before the Elon deal officially goes through, the news had some instant implications for the crypto market and could have far-reaching effects as well. Just as I did in a bulletin newsletter this week, let's break down 3 ways Musk's bid for Twitter is noteworthy for crypto. First, as usual, Musk's action pumped the price of Doge, with the Monday news release pushing the meme coin up by about 20%, before coming back down rather quickly. Dogecoin fanatics are most likely excited about the news, as Musk recently showed interest in Doge tipping, a Twitter native feature. Furthermore, Tesla accepts Doge for certain merchandise, setting a precedent for Musk to utilize the currency at his companies. Speaking of Tesla, the electric car manufacturer and the Musk-led SpaceX hold BTC on their balance sheets. Adding Twitter to that list does not seem crazy, especially considering the app has already integrated Lightning payments. Musk made it clear that eliminating bots will be a priority for Twitter under his leadership. This will be a major user experience upgrade for crypto Twitter, as imposter bot accounts frequently scam new or unlucky users via phishing links and private key ploys. On that note, I'm personally interested in how crypto tools like zero-knowledge technology could be used to help authenticate users. Fidelity Bitcoin 401ks are on the way. Fidelity Investments will allow clients to add Bitcoin to their 401k retirement plans later this year, the firm announced on Tuesday. Employers will be able to cap Bitcoin savings at 20% of an employee's account. There is growing interest from plan sponsors for vehicles that enable them to provide their employees access to digital assets in defined contribution plans, and in turn from individuals with an appetite to incorporate cryptocurrencies into their long-term investment strategies, said Dave Gray, head of workplace retirement offerings and platforms at Fidelity Investments, in a press release. Crazy stat. According to CoinDesk's research, Cerulli Associates estimates that Fidelity held around $2.4 trillion in 401k assets in 2020. That's nearly triple Bitcoin's market capitalization. The Michael Saylor-led software firm MicroStrategy is at the front of the line for Fidelity's offering and announced on Tuesday that it plans to offer employees access to Bitcoin via Fidelity 401ks. MicroStrategy looks forward to working with Fidelity Digital Assets to become the first public company to offer their employees the option to invest in Bitcoin as part of our 401k program, tweeted Saylor. In related traditional finance meets crypto news, Stripe announced a new pilot product with Twitter for ticketed spaces and super follows to support payouts in USDC over Polygon. Goldman Sachs says it is exploring the tokenization of real assets via NFTs. CoinDesk reports that Matthew McDermott, global head of digital assets at Goldman Sachs, said, "We are actually exploring NFTs in the context of financial instruments, and actually the power is actually quite powerful. So we work on a number of things," he said at the Financial Times Crypto and Digital Asset Summit on Wednesday. PayPal CEO Dan Schulman said that the firm needs to double down on digital wallets because that is where the future of the industry and the future of PayPal is going. Vitalik seems optimistic about Optimism. Optimism, the third largest Ethereum Layer 2 by total value locked, fourth if you count Polygon, announced plans for governance this week. Called the Optimism Collective, Optimism will now be operated by two distinct groups, the Token House and the Citizens House. As its name implies, Token House will be run by the soon-to-be airdropped OP token, which will govern the Optimism protocol via on-chain voting. This is more or less industry standard. With Citizens House, Optimism is trying something new. The L2 plans to use soul-bound NFTs, or NFTs that are non-transferable, to allow non-token OP holders to decide how future revenue collected by Optimism is used. The plan has Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin excited. Possibly the biggest attempt at non-token holder-centric DAO governance so far. Excited to see where this goes, he tweeted. As for the token, 20% of OP is set aside for public goods funding, 25% for an ecosystem fund. Core contributors will receive 19%, investors 17%, and 19% of the OP supply is allocated for airdrops, with 5% being airdropped soon in the first season. Over 250,000 addresses met Optimism's Round 1 airdrop criteria. A $34 million smart contract error. Agutars, a much-anticipated NFT project headed by digital artist and former Major League Baseball player Micah Johnson, underwent its initial drop with a faulty smart contract, leading to $34 million worth of Ether being locked away from both creators and purchasers. Two smart contract errors were found shortly after the drop started, though Aku developers denied anything was wrong. The first was rectified after a hacker froze and unfroze the refund capability of the Akutar mint. However, the second error, which miscounted the number of NFTs necessary to unlock funds, proved fatal and led to 11,539 ETH, or $34 million, being locked into a smart contract. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to the Aku family. I care so deeply about the Aku family. I let you all down, and I'm so sorry, wrote Johnson on Twitter. Since then, the Aku team has refunded affected users and successfully finalized an airdrop of the NFTs. Despite the shaky drop, the 15,000-piece collection holds a floor price of 1.9 ETH on OpenSea. A tale of two cities. New York passed a law looking to pause new, non-renewable energy-based proof-of-work mining. The New York State Assembly passed a law that would place a 2-year moratorium on the approval for new mining operations utilizing the proof-of-work consensus algorithm and powered by non-renewable energy. Furthermore, the bill would prevent existing operations from renewing their permits. This could stymie new Bitcoin and Ethereum mining in New York if the law passes in the state Senate and if many of these miners don't use renewable energy. Of the total hash rate in the U.S., 19.9% is housed in New York. Fort Worth, the first mining city. On the opposite end of the spectrum lies Fort Worth, Texas, which is set to become the first city in the United States to start mining Bitcoin in a pilot project. Through a partnership with Texas Blockchain Council, the city will be maintaining 3 mining rigs in a climate-controlled location in City Hall. $77 million in BTC will be donated to Ukraine in fiat. Earlier this week, it was reported that Finland was considering ways to donate up to $77 million worth of seized Bitcoin to Ukraine. Notably, there was disagreement about whether the Bitcoin should be sent over the Bitcoin network or whether customs should cash out the Bitcoin and donate the resulting fiat. On Thursday, it was confirmed that Finland would be doing the latter and will give CoinMotion and Tesseract, two crypto firms, the 1,890 BTC by early summer for them to sell for euros, which will then be donated to Ukraine. DeusDAO down $13.4 million due to a hack. Deus Finance, a DeFi application, was exploited, with the hacker getting away with $13.4 million. According to CoinDesk, the hacker utilized with a specialized $143 million flash loan attack to artificially inflate the value of assets, borrow funds, and make a profit after selling. This is the second exploit in 2022 for Deus. Time for fun bits. Whoa, Edward Snowden played a role in the birth of Zcash. The founding of Zcash, a much-covered story that involved 6 participants breaking up a private key controlling the ability to mint tokens in a plan called the Ceremony, just got a little bit crazier. The publicly known Zcash founders have so far included Zuko and Nathan Wilcox, CoinCenter's Peter Van Valkenburg, security engineer Derek Hinch, and Bitcoin developer Peter Todd, who each went to great lengths via overseas flights, burned equipment, tinfoil, and air-gapped computers to make sure the ceremony was completed without a nefarious hacker gaining access to the key controlling the supply of Zcash. However, until this week, it was not known that rounding out the group of 6 was the famous whistleblower and former U.S. defense contractor Edward Snowden. Snowden's involvement in the 2016 event occurred 3 years after the U.S. charged him with espionage and was done under the pseudonym John Darberton. However, according to Snowden, it was not the opportunity to invest, but his interest in Zcash technology, which is privacy-focused and helps users obfuscate blockchain transactions through dark pools, which led to his involvement. As long as it is clear that I was never paid and had no stake, it was just a public interest thing, I think you can tell people, wrote Snowden. Thanks so much for joining us today. To learn more about Chris and CoinFund, check out the show notes for this episode. If you've read my book, The Cryptopians, and want to chat about whether or not Ethereum would have hard forked without the involvement of Andrei Chernovsky of Chatroulette, how Ming Chan was able to stay as executive director of the Ethereum Foundation despite so many people wanting her out for so long, whether or not it matters that Charles Hoskinson appears to have told many tall tales, and the shocking market manipulation proposal, and much more, then join one of my book clubs. You will get a free year-long subscription to my premium offering in which I release interviews not available elsewhere. Head over to bitsky.com to get an NFT ticket for dates and times. That's bits.ki/Laura Shin. Unchained is produced by me, Laura Shin, with help from Anthony Yoon, Daniel Ness, Mark Murdoch, Shashank, and CLK Transcription. Thanks for listening.